Well, hello again, sports fans. I'm afraid this is another search video looking for Struan's scanner pictured here. If you've been watching these videos, you'll know that he lost it round about here, and I've covered a fair bit of territory having a look for it so far. So today I'm going to have a look along the tree line on the southern side, that's the bottom of the screen, to see if it's been hung up in one of the trees. I'll be flying the Venture, which is behaving better than it has been, but still not perfectly, but hopefully good enough for today. It's an absolutely glorious day for flying, and there's been quite a few members out here this morning, but they've all headed off now. There's just myself and Nick, a visitor from the United Kingdom. So this is the line of trees that the scanner reportedly went down behind. The plan was to do a low-level pass along this side of the trees and see if the plane's been hung up in a branch, but I was expecting these guys that are drilling the bore to be finished by now, so I'll just have to work around them, I guess. So I'll just lose a bit of altitude to get down to what seems to be a nice height. And start heading in for a closer look. Both cameras are forward facing, so I'm going to have to side slip to the left to cover the tree line, and I just want to make sure I don't bump into a tree or into the guys that are operating the drilling rig. I spot this gap in the trees and wonder if I might be able to slip through there and come in behind the trees and have a look that way, but in the end I decide it's probably not a good idea, and I might as well just go around the guys on the drilling rig at a safe distance. So I've picked up a bit more altitude on my way around them that I need to shed off and get back down and look at the trees again. Nick spots something wide on the ground on the monitor and directs me back to have a look at it, but it's just a sheep trail by the looks of it. So back to business. There's the big blackberry patch. So the plan from here is to go back to the east along the line of trees, back to where the guys are drilling. While I'm here, I decided to capture a bit more video of the blackberry patch from this angle. I haven't been down this low before, so I'll review it later. I don't spot anything obvious in the trees at the time, but when I was reviewing the video I spotted this anomaly in the tree, and it looks vaguely like an aircraft wing to me, but probably isn't. While I'm here, I think I'll do another low pass over the blackberry and see if I can have a peek behind the tree line and see if anything's visible from there. As I get in behind the trees, I start to experience a little bit of video breakup and get a bit nervous and start backing away and putting on a little bit more altitude to see if it improves. So the extra altitude does improve things, so clearly the video signal's being blocked by the trees, so I just mess around a bit to see if I can find the ideal height to come in at. The wind's come up a bit, and it's not super strong, but it's certainly having an effect. So I get it reasonably stable and start moving back towards the tree line. So at about this point I'm trying to move closer to the trees, and I start experiencing some control problems with the Venture. It doesn't seem to want to go forward. The wind seems to be pushing it all around all over the place, so I add some throttle to get some more altitude while I try and figure out what control I actually have and what to do about it. So I stabilise the altitude, and I find that full forward stick actually does work, but very, very slowly. So I start heading home and with my fingers firmly crossed. And I do eventually get there in one piece, and a very relieved man I am. So an hour or so later, after the heart rate's calmed down, I decided to have another go, and this time I'm going to just fly along the heading beyond a reasonable distance, just to make sure that it hasn't gone out that far. So the Venture seems to be behaving itself, all the controls work, it seems to be holding its position in GPS mode, so I head off. So I'm just crossing the creek here and trying to line up on the heading that Struan reported the plane went down on, and heading off into the big paddock. So I identify that dam ahead as along the heading I want to pursue, and decide I'll fly over the top of that and probably out to the next stand of trees that I can see in the distance. Really, if it's out here, I should be able to spot it clearly from the air. Nothing here but cows, so I decide to turn around and come back along a slightly different heading, just to capture as much video as I can. The video receiver antenna's on the back of the venture, so as soon as I turn around it is in the shadow of the battery, so I lose video and start packing on some extra altitude to hopefully recover it, which it seems to do without too much trouble. So given the size and the coloration of the scanner, I would really expect that if it was in this paddock I would have no difficulty seeing it from this altitude at all, so I'm pretty sure it just ain't out here. I've got plenty of battery left though, so I just do a bit of a fly over and a look around just for the sake of having the video there for later analysis. So coming up again on the most likely area, the blackberry and the tree line, so I've already had a look around there. I decide I might go up the side of the hill a bit and cover some territory that I might have missed on an earlier flight, just to use up the battery more than anything else. So I'm just crossing the track that goes around the hill, and I'm going to look for the densest scrub I can find and fly back towards home over that with the camera pointing down and just in case a miracle has occurred and it's flown all the way up here by itself. So I didn't spot anything interesting on the live feed, and I actually started to experience control issues with the Venture again. It was a bit different this time. All it wanted to do was go forward, and I had trouble holding it in one place, even in GPS mode. So what was going on there, I really don't know. I had to hold a fair bit of reversing just to stay in one place, and I was really pleased to get it down on the ground in one piece this time. So in 4 days of searching, this is the only thing I've found that I think might be worth going out and having a look at. My zoom tool hasn't made it any clearer, but yes, it's got to be somewhere, and maybe it's here.